In this video, I'm going to show you guys how to W key in Fortnite OG, just like the FNCS Global Champ Cooper, as well as the FNCS NA Champ Khanada. These guys are the kings of W king on NA, as you can see here. I'm going to show you guys everything that they do when it comes to duo fighting, how they go ahead and box fight together, how they defensively fight, and everything in this video will apply over to getting more kills in duos, in pubs, in ranked, and especially tournaments, since all of the duo tournaments this season really reward W king. So let's get straight into this with early game. So in this first game, of course, if you guys want to go ahead and get a big kill, probably the best bet is to go tilted. Have a Cooper and Khanada, get it completely uncon, as you can see here. So what I'd really recommend doing is to go ahead and just spend a bit of time actually looting up. Don't immediately just start fighting teams. Try to get a decent amount of loot, and especially trying to get a grappler each before you go ahead and start fighting, so you have good mobility so you can end fights quick. Now at this point, they both have decent loot, as you can see. Cooper uses the Rift. They both have extra chugs, so they can go ahead and heal up after a fight is done with, and they're going to go ahead and third party the closest available drop. No matter where you guys are landing for your first game, such as Retail, Fatal, Salty, Greasy, learn these spots near you, and also try to scout out off spawn where is going to be contested, so you can quickly get in a fight within about 3 minutes of landing. So for this very first fight, these guys are starting it with the high ground advantage of having a hill. I can't tell you guys how important it is to try to have some natural advantage when these fights happen, because if you're down here on low ground, especially when you're split from each other, it's very hard to make up the distance, and you're going to see how Khanada abuses that. So first of all, Cooper is playing as support this fight. He's just trying to hold angles, spray, get some opening damage with his P90, while Khanada, look what he does, is he cuts off the space from this other player, right? So he builds around him, cuts off his space, goes for this pump from the back, having does not commit to it, as you can see. Instead, he goes ahead, turns his attention, and looks for the other player, since this guy is, of course, going to move over and try to box up his teammate. Khanada gets the beam to begin with, cracks the guy white, and he doesn't try to aggro this kill. Instead, he turns his attention back to this guy and gets out of the box. And then now, as they've got this massive HP advantage, Cooper and Khanada are going to go ahead and pinch in from different angles. So take a look what they do. Cooper comes in here, down from the low ground, as you can see. And Khanada is going to go ahead and play a really nice play from above. So look what he does. He drops down, opens a wide edit, so this guy of course thinks, oh, I've got a free shot, I can try to line up a max. Khanada quickly resets it to bait the guy out, and then as he's got his pump delay, can't shoot his pump just yet, Khanada swings in on left-hand peak. You can left-hand peek in this season, especially since the gun's not really too much risk of getting one pumped, and especially when you know somebody is going to be one shot like that guy was right there. It's a pretty free play to do, and these guys both go ahead and use their chug jugs and get straight into the next fight. One of the best ways of W king this season is just figuring out quickly where one player is and isolating them. So you guys can see they rift, they spot one player farming up metal on his own, and of course they're just going to instantly fully aggro and try to end this fight as quick as possible. The key thing is when you're trying to end a fight like this is you need to make sure you take height to begin with. So Khanada goes in and takes height, gets that free shot, and then take a look. Cooper doesn't go from the same angle, he doesn't approach with Khanada. Instead, he swaps his angle around and sprays from the side, so Khanada's able to get a free knock. And of course, the other player, they're going to do the exact same thing. They figure out where he is. The guy doesn't makes a mistake of not reboxing enough to make space. And then as they push over, take a look. Khanada goes in from the left, he pre-fires on the left, Cooper goes in from the right, and this guy perfectly gets pinched, and they take him out really quickly. And then now, they're on 4 kills within the first 4 minutes of the game, and they can keep on trying to rift and chain these kills together. A lot of players in duos really struggle with dealing with boogies in fights. A key thing that you guys need to do is don't just go ahead and run back and hide behind builds where you can get jumped on. Instead, move into a position where your teammate can see you, so they can cover you, and they can make sure you don't get jumped on and double pumped. You can see Khanada shoots over, he gets this guy cracked, and he makes it safe for Cooper not to get jumped on. Now these guys go ahead and do a really good play. First of all is they abuse the P90 to get the guy's push off, get a little bit of opening damage, and as soon as they see that hill icon on screen, the guy up top popping the minis, look what they do. They do a 3-2-1 con with the grappler, both shoot up, and they both go from different angles. Really important. Again, don't just grappler on the same guy, because you're going to end up in each other's face, piecing each other, getting in each other's way. Instead, go from split angles. That allows Cooper to get that free shot, as this guy was distracted by Khanada, and Cooper uses the P90, gets straight in, replaces the cone with the SMG, and hits a little max damage 9 pump. From here, Khanada does a really good job of swinging on the wall once and then just holding his shotgun, right? So now this guy is completely distracted by Khanada. He's worried about getting his wall replaced. And of course, Cooper's going to support spray with his AR. and Khanada gets a really simple kill there without even doing any damage because Cooper's just support spraying the entire time. This next fight is a couple really useful box fighting things you guys can do in solos as well as duos. So first of all, Cooper goes ahead and he hops on this guy's wall right here, as you can see, but he makes sure to not just pickaxe on the wall straight away. He always tap fires it a couple times. The blue AR especially, and all of the ARs do a lot of structure damage. You can see he taps it, gets the wall one shot, the other guy's holding it, and then he goes ahead and shotgun replaces it just as the guy's not expecting it. A shotgun replace is so good, people do not expect it, and oftentimes the AR, as you can see, 66 tag right there, does a lot more damage at those sort of mid-ranges in box than a shotgun ever would. At this point, Cooper tries to hunt down this kill, however Khanada calls for him to turn their attention to this other player who's also popping minis. So as you can see, they spray through. Khanada's going to go ahead and aggravate on the side, so on the horizontal, on the walls, and Cooper aggroes from vertical. He aggroes from above, he's pressuring, he's spraying, he's trying to get the bleed through damage, and this works out perfectly. Because in duos, whenever you're focusing and trying to 2v1, what happens is one player starts running away and making space. As you can see, this guy's starting to panic, he's trying to escape the box, and of course, the teammate is going to come over, whack open a bad edit, and get insta double pumped by Khanada and Cooper. That is the benefit of those split angles. Now, these guys have got a really easy job of taking out the solo. How are they going to do this? Again, playing the same angle, playing the same box, they take him out, and they can go ahead and keep on WQing. If you guys want to go ahead and end fights fast, you need to be learning how to cut off space. So first of all, Khanada gets the crack to open the fight, and he's going to go ahead though and aggro the other player. Take a look what he does. First of all, as he sets up on this right hand peak, he's got a wall covering his side over this way, and he goes ahead and baits this other player. First of all, as he holds a shotgun, then baits like he's going to pickaxe twice and do like a bad play. However, what he does is really smart. He places a close wall to him, then goes ahead and gets a stare inside the guy's box, as you can see there. Now, as the other player is panicking and he's got the stare in the box, Khanada's going to go ahead and aggro forward, and this is where his teammate Cooper does the perfect play. First of all, as he jumps on the guy who Khanada's aggroing, gets that nice damage pump, and then take a look what he does. He goes ahead and gets double edits from above, then swaps his angle, gets on the wall, and they go ahead and get the opening knock on this player right here. Now, while Cooper is low, Khanada realizes that he has to go ahead and take the aggro, so take a look what he does. Gets a stare towards this guy, gets a stare in his box again, wall replaces, and then goes in, does a nice open edit while the guy's got a pump delay, and takes him out. One big thing that you guys probably experienced this season is whenever you're rifting or padding onto people, they're going to go ahead and beam you as you start the fight. You can either go behind trees, which means you waste a bit of time, and you can oftentimes still get beamed, but what Khanada does here is really smart, is he goes ahead and starts spinning in circles. Do this with your controller or your mouse, and it makes it really hard to line up shots since your character is just whizzing around in the air. Unfortunately though, just at the end, he goes straight, and that means he gets beamed 60, so take a look what he goes ahead and does. First of all, as he pops this mini, as Cooper throws an offensive boogie bomb onto this other player. Boogies are so good, especially when your teammate's getting boxed for. You can just lob one and it'll pretty much guaranteed to hit the other player. And as you can see, Khanada here, it's a nice pump, and take a look how he closes his fight quick. He sets up this stare exploit really quickly to block off his back from the other guy, as well as give himself the exploit in, gets the extendo wall and the cone slide. Other guy's left licking his own wall, and they get the opening kill. If you guys enjoy this video and you want to go ahead and play some duos in this season, go check out the duos masterclass on FortniteMasterclass.com. I've just added an update with a load of new videos for the OG season, and everything in here is going to help you earn in builds as well as zero builds. I've done a first place VOD review on Queasy and Thomas from zero build, Pink and Savage from build, Volko and Vortexes, as well as broken down the full meta and exactly what you need to go ahead and do to get easy earnings. This season there are so many cups, and of course the Duos Masterclass is going to get updates for the entirety of 2024 completely for free. Khanada is an absolute master at going ahead and getting extended walls and cones on other people. Take a look at how he does it here as he aggroes down this other player. The key thing is you guys need to learn the crosshair placement to get these walls. So first of all, on this full box right here, he looks into the back corners. He doesn't look up too high, he just looks into the back, as you can see there, a little bit lower than directly horizontal. Then from there, to get this far wall here, it's actually a very hard wall to get, he looks into the very far back corner. As he gets the wall, then he adjusts his crosshair placement over to do this little top right hand peek, give himself a right hander, and then go ahead and take out the player straight away. It might seem like a minor thing, but you guys need to practice that extended wall crosshair placement as you do edit tunnels, so you can go ahead and piece people up more in game. As we get a little bit later into the tournament, Khanada and Cooper are still WQing, of course, trying to get some early fights in, and they hit this player white, so they're going to go ahead and insta aggro him. As you can see, Cooper drives over, make sure to pre-piece the entire way around the side, as you can see here, to block off this guy's escapes, and they both try to isolate this other player as quick as possible and get this opening knock. The thing is though, in high reload, it's a lot harder to end fights quickly just by jumping in, and disaster strikes here as Khanada goes ahead and gets one deep inside. Now, just as Khanada gets deagled, how does Cooper try to close this out? First of all, he tries to finish the kill on Timber so he can force a res exchange, but this other guy's made loads of space in metal. It's very hard to finish him off, so Cooper turns his attention to this other player. Hits a nice little bit of opening damage, flips the stair, and Khanada drops in all of his mats that he's got, especially the metal, which is really important. What does Cooper do with these extra mats he's been dropped? He doesn't just sit in a couple boxes or a 2x1. Instead, he makes 6 whole boxes, so a 3x2, made of loads of extra space, which is really key so he can counter peek. Khanada also drops in the heavy shotgun, so Cooper can go ahead and peek and play his range a little bit there, and take a look what he does. He tries to aggro this wall right here and this floor where this other player is playing a right and peek. Other guy predicts it, but look what this guy does. He keeps on aggroing, keeps on trying to replace this floor, and look what Cooper does. He swaps up his angle, moves around inside this base, makes it harder for him to track, and does a nice crossbox peek, gets a nice opening crack onto this player, and tries to force the res on Khanada. You guys should always try to force reses, because if the other team doesn't aggro your metal walls and do an extremely aggro play, you're able to go ahead and get the res off, which of course favors Cooper and Khanada in this situation. Now here, the other player is forced into aggroing the wall directly. Cooper side jumps, hit 100 bang, and he's going to go ahead and edit the cone and get this opening kill. Now, as soon as he gets that opening kill on the player that was low earlier, he goes back inside his box and tries to force the res with Khanada again. The thing is though, if this other player goes ahead and reses Khanada in this situation, they're both going to be lower HP than Cooper is, and of course, so the other player goes ahead and starts aggroing the walls. Take a look what Cooper does though. Immediately looks for a counter pump from swapping up the angle, makes a load more space in metal, so he's got a couple extra boxes to play with, and then right here, the other player catches Cooper off guard with the eagle and cracks it. Now Cooper is cracked, he's in a bad situation, and the other player is going to exploit him with the deagle. So what does Cooper do? He commits to the angel, which is really important since this other player wasn't expecting it. So you can see, other guy jumps in, Cooper crouches, makes it as hard as him to hit as possible, and he also, very keyly, swings to the right as the guy jumps in, which makes it extremely hard for him to line up his following pump shot. He hits a minimum, and Cooper goes ahead and wins that 2v1. This right here is a really smart peek that you can go ahead and do. It's basically a method of peeking just your head over for a fraction of a second, so you can go ahead and get free opening damage. I'll go ahead and show you guys how to do that, but also Cooper is doing a very smart peek here. He's playing behind the right hand peak of the cone to get this opening crack on this other team, and now these guys are going to go ahead and grapple over and W key from this advanced position. The key thing that they do to fight this other pro team is they both play long range angles. At no point here are they aggroing from directly on the wall. As you can see, Cooper always has this bit of space between him, does that nice backward stare to get this another crack on this player. And then now, as they cracked, Khanada plays the right hand peak, crossbox, swings in, gets the opening kill, and then go ahead and take out this other player just by 2v1ing on the same angle. So how you go ahead and do this trick is you basically get your AR to the point where it's sort of peeking over the top, and as you can see, my head isn't actually peeking, so you cannot get headshot by somebody. Then you want to go ahead and press space, shoot, and then crouch. So you want to space to uncrouch. Space, shoot, and then crouch. Just like this. And what happens is you're going to peek over for like less than a millisecond or so, and you're going to be able to get a free shot onto the other person. And of course, you're going to be able to dink them, and they're not going to be able to deagle or headshot hunting rifle you because of how quickly you're peeking. When you guys are playing these OG skirmish cups, it's really important that you try to get in a couple mid-game fights. The kill points are worth way too much, especially since there's only 10 points for win and a kill is worth 1. You need to be trying to get in some mid-game fights, which is exactly what Khanada and Cooper tried to do, even in these really high-low lobbies with a lot of good players. So how they do this is they approach, instead of just fully ramping and W-keying towards the team, they sneak up on them. They try to catch an angle where they can both get a beam on separate or the same player, which is exactly what happens here. Khanada spots one coming out the back, doesn't shoot straight away. Instead, he lets Cooper shoot first. As you can see, Cooper gets a 66 tag on this player, and as Khanada goes in and beams this guy, he turns his attention and he looks to get a support spray on this other player. You guys need to always do this, especially if you're approaching correctly on these split angles, right? You can go ahead and look to get an opening beam on the other one to help your teammate out, win that fight quicker. Khanada though realizes this other guy's full build fighting him, so Cooper goes ahead and just pieces up this other player. So what Cooper does is really smart. He goes ahead, pressures this front wall, then he swaps up his angle, gets the double edit from above and the back wall on the guy, goes ahead and gets this 100 tag right there, and then he does a really nice edit. He does the 6 tile edit, which means he doesn't have to swing into it, doesn't have to get blocked as he pieces the guy up, and he also doesn't have to crouch down. Let's say if it was a bottom 4 tile edit. He does a 6 tile, hits the back walls on the guy, and then just 50-50s, which I'd always recommend doing doing if you have the bush on. If you can do an open edit where the guy's going to pump your bush and you can get damage on them directly, always try to do that, because of course now the other guy has been taken out. These guys don't take any damage in return, and the other player is forced to disengage, and these guys get that extra point as well as extra rifts for mobility. Now the very last part of this video is probably the most important, is how to go ahead and play defensively to make sure you don't go down in Fortnite OG. It's really easy to go ahead and get jumped in on, especially since there's no quick heals like slurps or chug splashes. How do you go ahead and, when you have the HP disadvantage, turn it around and go ahead and win the fight? So first of all, Khanada gets snuck up on by this team right here. He makes space backwards while trying to look for counter damage, and Cooper sprints straight over and goes ahead and pops up next to Khanada. Straight off the bat, these guys have a decent health disadvantage. They can't really get the time to pop bigs or chugs or anything in the situation, of course. So how do they go ahead and turn the situation around in their favor? Now the first step, as soon as you guys are reboxed and grouped together, you're probably not going to have enough time to get your heals off like bigs in this case. The other team, this is a good team, is going to go ahead and aggro other walls. So Cooper realizes he's the one getting aggroed. He's getting sprayed by two different sites. So he immediately goes ahead and backwards ramps, makes space away, and while he is doing this, take a look at what Khanada does as Cooper makes this space. As Cooper is going ahead and getting sprayed and looked at by both of these other players, Khanada does a crossbox peek onto the player as he's distracted and goes ahead and immediately starts aggroing this player that he hit low. This is really important because you guys can't just sit there playing loads of boxes. The other team is going to get time to heal up. You need to go ahead and pressure the guy that you got low, or try to 2v1 the other player. Khanada right here spots a perfect opportunity to turn the tide. He could have escaped out this box and kept on going ahead and making space, but look what he does. As the other player pulls out his pickaxe, he flips his stair, lines up a max pump, and of course Cooper goes ahead and runs over as Khanada fights the second one. Khanada here realizes he's in a box with this other player who's got full edits, so he just commits to Angel. He wants to do as much damage as possible and try to win this Angel before he goes down. As you can see, he gets 51 on this other player. Cooper, who made that space, has now been able to come over, jump in the back, and even though they go down and Khanada gets knocked, they're able to safely raise because of how quickly they turn the tide of that fight. The key thing is, when you're playing defensively, one of you needs to make space while one of you goes ahead and looks for counter damage and looks for side pumps. Alright, that's all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to go check out the Duos Masterclass update for this season down below in the description, and also leave a like if you enjoyed.